Okay, don't mind the beard. I promise this video is going to be all business. What's going on, YouTube? It's Dom, and as you can see, I have finished my newest desk upgrade. Yes, it indeed has 3 panels, that third panel not being necessarily easy to get because I didn't realize they stopped making them anymore for all the other Asus panels that have been coming out, but it is done. It is up, it is running, and it is beautiful. Amazingly enough, I'm actually kind of surprised at the results. I'm going to throw up the benchmark scores for a few different games here in a minute, but I am incredibly surprised at how well it works. Can I run every game on Ultra? No. But I usually can run it. If I can't run it on Ultra, then usually I'm able to run it on the second highest settings and get 60 frames per second out of these panels, if not more. I think in the case of one game, it shot up to 90 frames per second, and it's a fairly modern title. So I'm really impressed at how the 3970s are able to handle this type of display. Now, the graphics cards themselves are, like I said, 970s running 3-way SLI, but the 4 gig frame buffer for each of the cards, which may potentially be that 3.5 thing, I don't know what their deal is because I've seen them go outside of that 3.5 range and perform just fine, but whatever it might be, the 4 gig limit is kind of affecting some things. The big thing that I wanted to do with this particular setup here was create a super awesome level of immersion, and that involved using 3D. I know, 3D, blasphemous, right? Who gives a crap about 3D? Well, 3D, when run really well, or run correctly, I should say, is a pretty fantastic experience. And running it off 3 panels is something that usually a lot of people don't even think about doing if they even have 3 panels that can do 3D, let alone a computer that can run 3 panels at that resolution in 3D. Now, this computer surprisingly can do 3D for games. I was able to do 3D for Crysis 2 and a few other games that I was testing. I know Crysis 2 is old, but you know, it has DirectX 11 and it still requires a little bit of stamina to be able to run. And the experience is truly fantastic. 3D vision surround and all that stuff, it is fantastic. The problem is, for a variety of games, maybe like 60% of them, the computer just craps out. The application's still running and Windows is still running, and if I hit the power button, I'm able to close the application as it attempts to shut down. If I hit cancel quick enough, you know how it goes. It'll kick out the application. But it seems like the 3D, it's either driver related or I am just nuking that frame buffer trying to run these games on their really high settings with the 3D vision enabled. So it's interesting. I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to work with it. I'm going to get it going. But for now, the biggest thing was validating all the settings and getting things working. Now, before I get on to the benchmarks of the games, I want to make an announcement. If you're still watching so far and you're not subscribed, if you haven't seen, let me start over here. If you haven't seen my original desk, if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen my original desk, go check out the video here, or wherever the eye is. The little thing will come out and it'll say, it'll have my entire setup in its entirety, which will have most of the stuff you see here, as well as the parts in my desktop. Go check that out. Now, if you have seen that, or you just saw it, or whatever the case might be, then I want to make the announcement that at 1,000 subscribers, I will be liquid cooling Snow Lake, which is the name of the PC. I'm doing a complete, true hard tube liquid cool build. I have all the parts already picked out, but I'm not going to do that until I hit 1,000 subscribers, since doing the entire thing the way I want to do it, with 11 RGB fans, the new Corsair maglev fans, and all the types of stuff that I want to do with the hard tubing, the radiators, and the blocks and back plates and all that stuff, it's going to be about like $1,600 or $1,200, $1,600, depending on how everything lays out. Yeah, so not a cheap upgrade. So at the rate I'm going, we'll see in a few months if I hit the 1,000. Now, if for some reason it bursts and I hit 1,000, then I'll just go ahead and do it. And then I want to say that at 10,000 subscribers, I will be doing a completely new PC rebuild with all the parts that I originally wanted. Now, I might stick with this case because I love the 760T. I don't know what it is about it, but that case... Did Siri just go off? I don't know what it is about it, but that case just really makes me smile. I really love the case. So the parts I'm thinking for the upgrade are the X99 Deluxe, 5960X. I really want to run 3 panels, but or 3 panels. I really want to run 3 graphics cards, but since the new 1080s and 1070s don't run well in 3 SLI, I might have to just go with 2 cards. We'll see how it goes out, but that's basically a rough draft of what I'm thinking about. The X99 Deluxe, I love that motherboard. It's white, and it'll work really well with the Snow Lake V3 build. The 5960X, a processor, that everybody loves. It's awesome. 8 cores, 16 threads, overclocks like crazy. I want to then also 128 gigs DDR4 Corsair Dominator Platinum RAM with the silver and yada yada yada. You get the idea. Anyway, off to the benchmarks. Okay, so now on to the actual desk upgrade process itself. I'm going to be running some B-roll of the desk over as I talk about it a little bit. So some of the biggest challenges to doing an upgrade like this was definitely the back support that the monitors are actually put in. I've been referring to that as the back desk, I guess, and getting that thing on there isn't as simple as just drilling it and screwing it on there. You have to align it and measure and align it and measure, and then as you screw in, the back desk wants to move and shift around and unlevel itself. So every little bit that you move the bolt, you have to go remeasure and compensate for it. So that was by far one of the biggest challenges. The next was actually getting the monitors on the thing. Now, some things to consider if you are wanting to do a build like this. Number one is you are going to want to make sure you have obviously plenty of room in order to move the desk around. Particularly when you're actually mounting the thing on there. Mounting the back desk on there, if you are out of room, if you don't have a lot of room to work with, this is going to be really difficult to construct. You need way more room than you're actually going to need when the desk is all put together, because you want to flip the bottom desk on its side so the legs are sticking out, and then obviously apply that thing and have the holes drilled and get all that stuff on there. Number two is going to be weight. Now, the panels themselves are about 7 pounds without the monitor mounts, but the monitor mounts I got, which I will throw link down in the description, I'm actually really surprised at how well they work, considering they were only $11. They themselves are a few pounds. So when you add all 3 of them, plus the cables, plus any webcams, because you got to factor in, a few grams, or if it's made out of metal or whatever, you got to factor all that stuff in, and it will make the desk want to sort of shift forward. And that's one of the things that I did not factor in. The additional weight, especially if the monitors are coming out farther than if they're against the back desk, it's going to want to bring that thing forward. So they make at IKEA or at other hardware stores little elbow bends that you can actually put the screws in. I'll throw some B-roll, obviously, of what you can do to support that. And the more, the better. And you're going to want to do that before you mount the monitors. Once you get the desk up, you want to add all your weight support in then. That was one of the first mistakes I made. I actually did this, got the monitors on it, and then realized an hour later that the desk was actually sagging. So I had to do some emergency technical fixing in order to make it work. Unfortunately, too, I wanted to record a lot more of the actual build itself, but I had some battery issues because I'm a noob at making TubeU videos. So, see, TubeU videos. I already can't even say it right. So, but I do have some stuff that I will definitely upload in its own separate video about some of the things to consider. I'm also going to cover them here, but that's more of a hands-on approach. In any other future upgrades or builds, I will definitely be sure to have live on-the-fly recording of the actual thing itself. So, some other things to consider, especially even if you're not doing anything like this, you just want to mount your monitor. One of the things that I was able to manage to record, but I'm still going to say it here, is the monitor itself. The vase mount on the back, there's 2 different kinds from what I'm able to gather. I'm sure there's some unique special kinds as well for different monitors, but the two that you're probably going to run into is 75 and 100 millimeters, which refers to the actual back where the vase mount screws onto the monitor. The positioning of that is not necessarily centered on the monitor. It'll be centered in the middle, but it might not be centered vertically. So when you do your measurements in order to calculate where you want your monitor to be relative to where the actual monitor mount is on the wall and or back desk, it's important to know that when you get the monitor on there, it might not sit where you want it to sit unless you factor in that the VESA mount, the place where the VESA mount sits on the monitor might not necessarily be centered. So that's something that you're going to want to keep in mind. For actually getting the mount onto the screen, when you want to get the mount actually onto the wall, that in itself is different. So you have the actual part that makes contact with the wall. That is where you're going to screw in. In this case, I just had 2 bolts that go onto the thing. I'm sure it's going to be instinct for some who are really in a hurry and really excited to just to measure out and then put that right in the center. That is not always going to work. It's pretty much not going to work, especially if it's a folding one. I mean, each one will differ, but what you're going to want to do is actually make your measurements based on where the VESA mount is, not where the part that actually mounts onto the wall. So that way, when you actually put the monitor on it, it will be centered, not the VESA mount itself will be centered. So that is a important variable to consider. So mounting monitors, measure, like I always say. It's super important to measure. So some of the other mods that I have on here, I moved over from my last desk, such as the drawer that I keep tools and accessories and stuff in, the Signum mounts, all that stuff, or the Signum cable racks down below. All that stuff is going to want to be applied before you even flip the desk over. Just go ahead and do it when the desk is upside down. It's so much easier if you're dealing with IKEA stuff or even anything in general, rather than having to sit on the desk and go all mechanic on it and try to get the stuff mounted that way. Just flip it over, measure it out, put your holes in and mount everything. Then it's going to make your life so much easier to not have to hold the thing up while also drilling in to the desk itself. So that was one of the things I was really glad that I was able to accomplish with while I was able to do this one versus my last one, the birch wood finish one. I was under there and mounting in there, and it was pretty awful. So I'm really happy that I managed to accomplish it, or managed to do it that way this time. Some other things I've talked about in a lot of my other videos, you'll be able to check those out, such as drilling the holes in for cable grommets and stuff. I actually managed to find white cable grommets, which I'm sure you noticed, but I'm actually short one particular cable grommet, which I will show here. So I had to use one of my black ones from the birch wood setup. So I have that one coming in. So technically it's not done yet. I have to replace one grommet. But yeah, the white happened to work out perfectly with the white from the IKEA desk. So now everything looks really invisible, really clean, really awesome. Some of the other things that I'm looking forward to doing is putting on the, what's it called, the LED lighting, the LED lighting on the back. I haven't decided yet if I even want to do LED lighting. I'm kind of over it. I might want to do one strip for the upper desk that I hold all the accessories on, and so that way it can kind of splash underneath on top of the main desk there. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with LEDs yet, mainly because the IKEA LEDs are a super pain. There are LED strips, USB powered LED strips on Amazon that you can plug into your computer, but I'm sort of short on USB ports if you haven't seen all the stuff that I'm running. Yeah, the USB, and I don't like USB cards, not that I even have room, like internal USB cards. I don't have room at all inside the case or on the motherboard with the 3 graphics cards. So I'm probably just not going to stick with using LED lighting, external LED lighting on the actual desk itself. It'll also be easier to sleep. Yeah, those things can keep you up at night if they're in your room, especially when they're right next to your bed, like when your desk is right next to your bed, like mine is there. So the last thing that I'm sure you all have noticed is the speakers are different. Yes, in my almighty greatness of actually building desks, I did not factor in just how big the monitors are. That is 6 feet of monitors, and when you're dealing with a 59-inch wide desk, which is 12 inches shorter than the 6 feet that you need to accommodate the monitors properly, you're going to have to obviously bring them in, which you'd want to bring in the monitors anyway into an angle, but it's so much more than I had anticipated. Because of that, I wasn't able to do the wings that I sat the speakers on before. I had to effectively make a compromise by putting my speakers in the corners behind the monitors, which is blocking the tweeter. It's really driving me nuts because I can absolutely hear the difference. But the speaker wings just won't fit without me doing some really crazy and potentially damaging to the desk and or legs themselves modifications in order to make it work. So for now, I'm just gonna live with it. We're gonna see how it goes. The speakers still sound really great where they are. They're on the desk. It's like the one thing that's just irking me about this. It's unfortunate. The idea that I originally had was to put them as far back as possible and then really have them on the sides of your ears. So the speakers are really aiming in, then you have 3D vision, you get this real crazy immersive experience. But for now, that's just the way that it's got to be. So even when you measure and calculate and spend all your time trying to get everything sorted out and organized, you get all the parts, mistakes still happen. Don't get discouraged. You know, unless it's really damaging or just really something that you can't get around, whether it be you literally can't get around it or you just personally can't get around it, you know, just continue on with your build. Don't be discouraged. But anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed all the fancy B-roll and all the whole new upgrade, the benchmarks and all that stuff. And hopefully this will inspire you for your next desk building project. So, of course, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, which I hope you didn't. Be sure to subscribe for more of my desk building videos and more tech-related videos as well. Of course, be sure to subscribe for the 1,000 subscriber, what am I trying to say? The 1,000 subscriber water-cool upgrade to Snow Lake V3, or I guess it'd be V2.5, I guess is what we'd call that one. Yeah, Snow Lake V2.5 liquid cooled at 1,000 subscribers, and I will be sure to probably live stream that build and or record it or however I'm going to do it. Never done water cooling before, so that'll be super exciting. And yes, of course, leave a comment down below for me if you have any questions, anything at all. Please throw comments down. I will answer them no matter what it is. I want more people to have their dream desk and to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do with their desk and with their setup. And one last little tidbit that's important is these, besides the monitor, that's different pricing, but the price of this upgrade costs me less than $200 to build out this desk. No joke, less than $200 to do all this. So that is something to keep in mind. Don't know why I threw it at the end of the video, but I did. Anyway, guys, like always, see you soon.